Hello again. So, a couple weeks ago, I disclosed to you all and came clean about my bipolar disorder. And a couple of things that I wanted to say about that. So, the first thing is the difference between how I've reacted and behaved when I had one of those depressed episodes show up, and the difference in the way that I have handled it this time. So in the past, when these depressed episodes come up, I basically just kind of stop trying because the depression tells me your life is over, you've screwed up too much, there's no hope, you can't recover, you can't fix this. Nothing in your future is going to happen. Everything's just too difficult. And those are the things that the depression tells me. So I just quit moving forward at all. So a couple of the things that I said to you last time is that the difference now is that I was continuing to do the things that I know I needed to do. Whereas before, I would stop reading my Bible. I would stop saying my prayers. I would stop journaling. I would stop making any decisions that meant me moving forward. But this time, I decided that even though I was having a difficult time seeing beyond how I felt, I decided anyway to continue with the routines that I had started establishing. So I was still reading my Bible. I was still praying. I was still journaling. I was still spending time in worship. I was still making plans and figuring out what are the next steps that I need to take. So I didn't allow myself to fall into this is over. One of the things that I have learned is that when I begin to have these feelings and these thoughts of feeling like things have just gotten awful, that I have now encouraged myself by reminding myself these feelings are a lie. This is not true. And that is something that we all have to realize. And it's not just about having a bout of depression and reminding yourself, hey, this isn't true, this isn't correct. But anytime that we come up against an obstacle or someone else saying something to us that isn't true. So there's the thing that, how you determine if a person is a pessimist or an optimist, and you show them a glass halfway full of water or something, and you ask them, is this half full or is this half empty? If you say half full, then you're an optimist. If you say half empty, then you're a pessimist. Well, me, I've always considered myself the person that says, I don't know. I'm a realist. It depends. If we are drinking the glass of water, then it's half empty because it's in the process of being emptied. If we are filling the glass of water, then it's half full because we are in the process of filling the glass. So I consider myself a realist. So that being said, even though I've always considered myself a realist, I'm the person that wants to get the full picture and understand the full thing before I make a decision, I have still allowed myself to fall into the lies that my feelings and my emotions tell me. And that's something that we have to learn to recognize, is that at any point in our lives, we get to decide. We get to decide how we're going to respond. How we're going to respond to a feeling that we're having, how we're going to respond to the way someone treats us, how we're going to respond to someone else's interpretation of a situation. So the only thing that we can really rely on is God's word. That's the only thing that we can truly rely on, because feelings lie. And when we react to something truthfully and honestly, we're not ever reacting to reality. We are reacting to our interpretation of a situation, to our perception of a situation. Our perception, or our thoughts or feelings, our interpretation of a situation is not necessarily true. So we have to make decisions, and we have to do things that are in line with what we know is true. We know that God's word is truth. Because we know that, we have to make decisions that line up with God's word. The Bible tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Therefore, when you have this thought or this feeling, I'm no good, I'm a mistake, well, you know that's a lie. You know that that's not true, so you don't have to react to that. God's truth is that He has called each of us for a purpose. The Bible tells us that He has given us a life of hope and a future. He's promised us that. So if you think, oh, I don't have a future, my life is over, you know that's a lie. When you feel afraid, or when you feel anxious, or you feel intimidated, well, we know that's a lie, because the Bible tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear. He's given us the spirit of love and the power of love and a sound mind. So we have to make all of our decisions based on God's truth, not based on feelings or things that come and go, because our perceptions can change, our feelings can change, our emotions can change. I am right now evidence of that. 2 weeks ago, I was feeling sad. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling lost and confused and, like not passionate about things again. Nothing has changed. My circumstance has not changed. I was laid off. I'm still laid off. Nothing has changed in my circumstances. The only thing that has changed is maybe a chemical balance within me. But that being said, today I have a completely different outlook than I did 2 weeks ago. Therefore, I can't react and make decisions based on how I feel when I wake up in the morning. I can only make decisions based on God's truth and God's word and God's law. I've never been, going back to the analogy I used of the glass of water and being an optimist or a pessimist and me being a realist. Because of that, I've never subscribed to the positive affirmations movement. I tried to do the whole positive affirmations thing where, you go through this list of affirmations and you say them every day and you say them like you mean them until you really believe it. But I could never really get that to stick because I'm a realist, and it felt like I was lying to myself, right? So I could never really embrace that. But I can tell you what I can tell you what I can embrace, and I can embrace God's truth. Because even if I don't feel it, God's word tells me who I am. God's word tells me that I am more than a conqueror. God's word tells me that I can do anything through Christ. God's word tells me that if I walk after the Spirit, I will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. God's word tells me that there is a way out of all temptation. God has given me a way of escape. God's word tells me that I'm fearfully and I'm wonderfully made. God's word tells me that I can take my burdens to Him and I can lay my troubles upon Him, and He will give me rest and He will give me peace. Peace not like the world gives, not the peace that comes and goes, but the peace that surpasses all understanding. The peace that we have regardless of the circumstances. The peace that we have regardless of the coronavirus. The peace that we have regardless of being laid off. The peace that doesn't make sense to the world. The peace that says, God's got this. And God's got me. And God has plans for me. And God has given me a hope and a future. So I encourage you today, regardless of feelings or thoughts or lies that either come from inside of your own mind or lies that are coming to you from Satan, from people externally to you, regardless of what is happening, regardless of what you're feeling, I encourage you to not base your future on your feelings, because feelings do not tell the truth. The only thing that we have that we can truly rely on is God's truth and what He says about us and what He says is true. So I encourage you today, when you wake up in the morning, it doesn't matter if you feel like spending time with God or not. We all have those days. I just got through probably like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even a month. Well, I guess that is a month. But I got through a lot of time where I didn't feel like doing it. But I chose this time to do it anyway, which means now that I'm through it, I don't have to start back at square one, because I continued moving forward regardless of how I felt. In the past, when I get through this ugly time, it's like I have to start back at the beginning because I quit moving forward. So it's like I have to start all over. I lost momentum. But this time, because I did what I knew I was supposed to do regardless of how I was feeling, I don't have to rebuild that momentum. It's still there. And that's what I encourage you to do. Make decisions based on God's truth, not on how you feel, or not according to what it looks like. God's truth never changes. God's truth is the same. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same. His truth hasn't changed. His principles and His standards, they haven't changed. So if you need truth, then I suggest you get that truth from Him, because no one else can really give you the truth that He can give you. That's it. I hope this helps you. I know you can see a difference in my demeanor because I am not the same person that I was the last time I made a video. But I just want to encourage you and just keep moving forward. Don't let your feelings stop you, but keep moving forward with God's truth. I love you guys, and I will talk to you next time.